every day. Yeah. I'll move with my sweats on. And then by Saturday when I try to put my team
Oh, Thursday? Yeah, it's cold out. He's out of the one. I'm not gonna say.
She's good. Still in Texas. Getting married in May. He is. This is. I guess this is the last one I have. We're going like this.
agenda to move an item 10 to work session. Any discussion? By roll call?
Ms. Ferguson?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Move successful, so, actually, we don't have to vote on the agenda. Then, we're on to a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Oh, there is an approve. By roll call?
Mr. Lang?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Lavada. Introduce our student board representative, Barnwell Middle School Principal, Mr. Dave Eckhoff.
Mr. LaFada, members of the board, Dr. Hendricks-Harris, and members of the executive cabinet, parents, patrons, guests, teachers, it is my honor to introduce to you Mr. Justin Kringle as this evening's honorary representative to the board. Justin's an 8th grader at Barnwell, the son of proud parents Sinan and Fergils Kringle, an older brother to Jerome, a 5th grader at Cosley Elementary. Go Cougars. Justin is what we call the real deal. All you need to do to know that Justin is an outstanding student is to take a look at his transcript and see his 4.14 GPA. He participates in the Spectra program, has been a member of National Junior Honor Society all 3 years while at Barnwell. He's also earned a spot on the honor roll each quarter, all while participating in the most challenging coursework the school has to offer. Outside the classroom, he has participated in the award-winning Barnwell Robotics program for 3 years, with his team winning 2 first LEGO League project awards and placing 2nd in the General Motors competition. He's also been recognized as a Joseph Baldwin Academy and Duke Tip nominee. Outside of school, he enjoys playing music, guitar and piano, and rumor has it there have been some jam sessions in the house with his brother Jerome on the drums. In May of 2015, after 8 years of study, he earned his black belt in Taekwondo and is a part-time instructor at his school. Here's a summary of what his teachers had to say about him. Justin is a leader in all that he does, striving to improve each and every day. He's kind and considerate of his peers and goes out of his way to help them be successful. He has a great attitude and comes to school each day with a smile and a desire to learn. Mr. Levine, his 8th grade science teacher, had this to say about Justin. What the grades do not tell you is what a great guy he is. Justin is always positive, always respectful, and always considerate of others. He has a good sense of humor and common sense beyond his years. That is very true. That is sometimes hard to find in middle school. Justin makes the entire class, including the teacher, better. As his principal, it's been a pleasure and an honor getting to know this young man, and I'm going to tear up here. And I look forward to his success as he makes his transition to high school. Mr. Justin Kringle.
Most teams dance together with joy after winning a state championship. But for the Golden Girls at Francis Howell High School, dancing together as a team is what clinched the title for them. A season that started last April finally culminated in February when they won the Golden Girls. They won the Class 6 state championship for the second time in the past 3 years, which sounds like the start of a dynasty to me. The ladies are all dressed up very nicely this evening because they have their awards banquet right after this. Ladies, come on up to the front, please. The squad that took the state title 2 years ago won multiple competitions leading up to the finals and went in as the favorite. This year, the team went to state as underdogs and surprised everyone except for themselves. And this team did have to overcome adversity. Injuries took their toll during the course of the season, and in every single competition, one of the alternates had to step into a starting role. So the bench strength definitely helped this team. As one of the seniors told me, there's something special about getting to compete and dance on stage with your 19 best friends. Here with them tonight is Coach Courtney Casabon. As I mentioned, they have their awards banquet right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, your Class 6 state champions, the Golden Girls. Congratulations.
Are you guys gonna do a routine tonight? Have fun at your awards banquet. Congratulations.
Mrs. Becky Henderson, would you please come up? Mrs. Henderson has provided our preschoolers with a valuable service for more than a decade. She's a volunteer technician with KidSight, the vision screening program of the Lions Club of America. Mrs. Henderson screens hundreds of our youngest students each year, and that early detection and intervention has helped identify some serious vision issues and help get glasses to those children who need them. She uses her own vehicle and gas to visit many schools in numerous school districts, and after 13 years, she has screened more than 3,500 preschool students. And at the end of this year, she's retired. Mrs. Henderson, thank you for all you do for our students. And we always like to finish with a really big check. As good stewards of tax dollars, Francis Howell School District is always identifying additional ways to conserve district resources. Francis Howell was an early adopter of the purchasing or P-card program, using them to streamline the purchasing process for small reoccurring purchases and and thereby reducing overhead costs. Another benefit of P-cards is the rebates that are earned on our purchases. With us this evening is Mr. Bill Shacklady. Bill, if you'd come up, please. From UMB to present a check representing the more than $300,000 in rebates the district has earned in the past 12 years. These rebates have allowed more resources to be directed to our core mission, educating students. Mr. Supple, are you going to be the beneficiary of this?
I don't want to steal any of Bill's thunder, but in addition to the hard dollar savings, and that's the number that Matt was talking about, and that's what the check represents that Bill will present tonight. In addition to the hard dollar savings, there's a tremendous amount that we saved in terms of transactional fees. So in our process, to purchase something with a purchase order, someone has to create a requisition that has to be approved by the supervisor. It has to be reviewed by the finance department to make sure the accounting code is correct. Then a purchase order has to be generated. That has to be sent to the vendor. The vendor has to send us an invoice. We've got to check that the invoice is correct. We have to receive the goods in the system. We have to then generate a check for payment, and we have to mail that check out. So for very small dollar purchases, oftentimes we were finding that we were spending more in transactional costs than the purchase actually was. And there have been a lot of studies done about the transactional savings associated with the use of a purchasing card program. Best estimates are somewhere around $27 per transaction. And when you think about the number of transactions that we've done, our savings just in transactional costs have been close to $500,000. So it's really a tremendous benefit to the district that we're able to carefully utilize a program that not only saves us overhead and those transactional costs, but brings in hard dollars that we're able to devote to other purposes. So great partner with UMB. They were early in the market, and we were early in the market, and there are competitors out there, but we've got a tremendous program with them, and our rebate percentages only increase as the volume has increased. So I appreciate UMB and their long-standing partnership, and Bill tonight with his generous check for us. Bill, I'd like to invite you to make a few words.
Sounds good. Thank you everybody for having me tonight. One thing I want to say from a UMB standpoint is Francis Howell is not only just a tremendous supporter of this program. I have the luxury of managing a lot of programs throughout the Midwest, and they are a leader amongst peers for school districts. They continue to kind of lead their peers and also become role models for new school districts to really do this. The savings that Kevin spoke of is actually a yearly savings of about $500,000 a year in transactions. So when you look at what they've done over the last decade, it's quite impressive. They continue to kind of push the envelope and do more with less on an annual basis. So I couldn't be happier to partner with the school. It's a great team to work with. They're always in a good mood and always finding new ways to have a little fun. So we'll keep trying to make more savings happen and get this check to be a little bigger every year. So thank you again for everybody.
Make sure you cash that check really fast. It's not often you get money back from a bank.
Only every year.
Thank you, Bill.
That concludes recognition. Thank you, Mr. Lafata.
Next item on our agenda is patron comments. During patron comments, patrons are invited to address the Board of Education. Please come to the podium so everyone can hear. Please adhere to the 3-minute time limit. The board is interested in hearing the public's concerns and opinions, but we do not answer patron questions during the meeting. Please remember that comments about individual students and staff are not allowed due to confidentiality. These concerns need to be brought to the administration's attention and may be brought to the board in closed session. Questions and concerns will be addressed by Mrs. First patron comment tonight is George Dunnick. Did I get that right?
Next.
Dunex.
Well, good evening. Thank you all for allowing me to come up here, the board and the teachers and the staff and administrators and the parents and the students that are out here. I'm a father of 3 Francis Howell students. I'm the grandfather of 2 Francis Howell students and a whole tribe of neighborhood kids. So I'm here tonight to comment on the Thrive dilemma or drama, however you want to describe it. I hope most of you realize what's going on. For a number of years, the Thrive program has been here to, in the Francis Howell district as well as others, to promote a relationship building program through abstinence education. And with a pristine, in my opinion, history of doing that. Teachers love them, kids love them. My 8th grade daughter, when I read about this, I said, Lily, tell me about that. What, do you like that? She said, we love it. It's awesome. I said, well, do they evangelize to you in school? She goes, oh no, they don't do that. They stay completely away from that. The mother business, or not business, but perspective or concept of this is a faith-based organization, but this stuff stays completely away from any faith-based or evangelizing opportunities. So I come up here and I go, oh yeah, perfect, mission statement, preparing students today for success tomorrow, and then the vision every student will graduate with an eye towards college. This particular program probably does a lot to help promote the mission statement of our district and the vision of our district. So now we have been blindsided by a group of people who are, I call them activists, and some of them, probably most of them, are don't even live here. They don't have kids in the district, and they're trying to knock out Thrive again, which is an abstinence-based program, and they want to bring in comprehensive sex education, which is going to cover everything. So if Thrive goes away, there's going to be a vacuum, and these people are going to probably try to want to come and fill that vacuum. So I'm totally opposed to that. It frightens me that might happen. So I stand here humbly before you today in front of the board to ask that you strongly consider keeping them on as the source of this information for our kids. Obviously, this school district and the people that run it are very high excellence people. You look at Mrs. Henderson, you look at the dance group, and this young man here. I mean, where else, how far else do you have to look to know that it's working?
Thank you, your time is up.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next patron comment is Jessica Taylor.
My name is Jessica Taylor, and I'm a resident of Francis Howell School District. I'm here to thank you for listening to concerned residents about Best Choice from Thrive, being a part of the sexual education curriculum in Francis Howell School District. It takes a significant amount of time to thoroughly investigate any vocalized concern to make a fully informed decision, taking all perspectives into consideration and being as objective as possible. Thank you for following through on looking into concerns about the Best Choice curriculum and removing Best Choice from the Francis Howell sexual education curriculum for academic year 2017-2018. I'm sure you all are used to hearing a lot of concerns, and I wanted to make sure you feel gratitude and appreciation as well for hearing vocalized concerns and taking them seriously. So thank you for demonstrating that you are a board consisting of members dedicated to hearing and looking into the concerns of Francis Howell School District
unfortunately, we cannot hear your comments tonight because it is reserved for district residents or staff. Just wanted to let you know, that's our policy. It's on the back of the card. And we have one more, Jane Cox.
Good evening, Mr. President and Board of Directors. I appreciate this opportunity to come and talk to you tonight. My name is Jane Cox, and I'm the mother of 2 children here at Francis Howell, a 6th grader at Barnwell and a 11th grader at Francis Howell North. And I am a newly engaged social activist and community organizer and trainer, but I don't want that to scare you because, like the previous speaker, I'm here tonight not to complain or criticize, but to offer my thanks and appreciation. Most of you have heard about the Standing Rock pipeline, but how many of you have heard about the school to prison pipeline? It runs from just about every public school through our law enforcement and juvenile justice systems and directly into our prisons. And it's stealing our future. One of the factors that contributes to this pipeline is inflexible school discipline policies that lead to repeated and extended out-of-school suspensions for children who act out at school. According to the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education statistics, youth of color are suspended disproportionately to white youth. In fact, a study by the Civil Rights Project at UCLA found that the gap between suspension rates for black students and white students in Missouri is the widest in the country. Out-of-school suspensions lead to juvenile delinquency, law enforcement, and to the juvenile justice system. Our perpetually underfunded public defender's offices mean that unless families have significant financial resources, children are routinely denied their right to legal representation and due process afforded by the Constitution. These children end up incarcerated. I've been working with a group called Metropolitan Congregations United on the Break the Pipeline campaign for about a year. And over the last 8 months, task force members have met with each of the superintendents from the school districts in St. Charles County to get commitments to end out-of-school suspension for K through 3rd grade. We first met with Dr. Hendricks Harris in August, just 3 weeks into her new job as superintendent, and we so appreciated her willingness to welcome us and hear our concerns. We've met with her several times, along with Dr. Patterson, who's the Director of Student Services and Operations. And when we met with them too, we were thrilled to hear the progress that they are making towards better schools for our kids in terms of reducing the underlying causes that lead to behaviors that lead to suspension. Dr. Patterson reported that 2 elementary schools, Becky David and Independence, are already implementing restorative practice teams in their schools. And in addition, agreements have been made with 2 nonprofit behavioral agencies.
Thank you, your time is up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs.
I
Cox.
thought I had cut it enough.
FHEA. Peace Bump. SAA. Patron comment report, Board of feel free to jump in whenever you like. Just turn on your phone. Listen to what you have to say. I mean, the way you got up here is like you just won on Price is Right. Ready to start your bidding. So, welcome, and feel free to chime in anytime. Interested in your comments and concerns. MSBA board report. Get somebody from the robotics team up here. We can start best practices if you'd like and come back to that.
Yes, they would.
Okay.
I've got a video there too, so.
Best practice.
I'd like to introduce Dr. Chris Greiner from the Love to Code Best Practice.
Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium Miss April Burton. April is our district's technology content leader and does a great job leading out many STEM initiatives across the district. One in particular tonight that we'd like to highlight was an event that occurred in the month of February, the week of February 6th, called We Love to Code. And Mrs. Burton did a great job coordinating the effort and supporting all of our schools that participated. And she has a really snappy presentation tonight with some great video, and also we have some friends from Sager Middle School that are going to join us in here in just a few minutes. But for now, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Burton to tell us a little bit more about We Love to Code Week.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I just wanted to share a little information about really our purpose for having this week-long event focused on coding. So the U.S. Labor Bureau, they're going to give me the quote here and I can read it. But we can see that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that more than 1 million programming jobs will go unfilled. If you think about that, it is a big number. And so we recognize that as a district, and we also recognize that this is something that our students are interested in. They want to know everything they can about coding. It's not something that they have every day along their curricular areas. So you'll put it in the next slide for me. There you go, thanks. Actually, I can probably do that here. So our purpose as a committee was we wanted to provide a week of coding opportunities at all levels. So even our youngest learners at our pre-K schools, all the way up to our high school students, we wanted to give them an opportunity just to learn what coding was and to try it out. And so we had this goal of just expanding for them the understanding of what computer science is, and we also wanted to expose them to what fields, and almost every field does, And so in doing so, does this work for me? Or does it not work? It does. Hold on. So what we did was we planned to create opportunities where they could create apps and share apps with their friends, where they could program robots, which our kiddos from Sager will show you here in a second. We gave them some great opportunities where they could meet professionals in the coding industry, ask them questions, learn about how they got started, learn about the career, the college path that they would need to follow in order to have a career in computer science. And really for a lot of our students, it was just trying something new and giving them that opportunity to create something, try it out, fix it if it didn't work the way that they wanted it to work, and just to get that exposure to coding and computer science. For our teachers, we really had a district-wide effort where we created for them some of the things you can see here. Is we had a menu of things that teachers could do at any grade level that they could try out with their students. We had a strong effort in our Learning Commons with our library media specialists. And this cool thing right here is called a Symbaloo. And we have this posted on most of our schools' websites where the students can just click on an icon and it will take them to one of their favorite coding apps online. Kids absolutely love that. And then I also spend a lot of time working with teachers and teaching them what coding was all about. That picture up on the top, I loved it. Some of our library media specialists learning how to code for the first time. So what our students had the opportunity to do was work collaboratively. If you've ever had the opportunity to watch students coding together, it's amazing how they become all on the same team. They help each other out. And they're solving problems in a way that really requires a lot of critical thinking. I loved seeing mentoring happening at all of the levels. These Sager students came to one of our elementary schools and helped teach some younger students how to code. In a lot of our buildings, we had upperclassmen helping our younger students. Some of our high school robotics team came and showed the high schools their amazing robot that they've created. And we also were able to show parents, this is what coding is. And really, for the first time, a lot of parents learned exactly what coding, when we say coding, exactly what it means. So I want to show you a little bit about what our week looked like. And I think you'll have to press play.
Coding is magical when you use it in classrooms because it helps classrooms work together. So you can have one account where like up to 50 people can work together to have one project. You can have a Google Hangouts tab up so they can communicate on what they're doing. And it's magical because it takes the science and technology and engineering right out of STEM, and in some, it also takes out that mathematics. So I really like the way coding unites class, and I really think that all teachers should be able to have a chance to let children code together.
It means to me that I'm lucky because some people don't get to do coding because they don't have the pieces to do it. So I feel like I'm lucky and I'm really happy that I'm doing it.
This is something special. Not everyone gets to do it. Like other school districts, they don't do anything like this. It's teaching kids the basics of coding, which could lead them in certain job directions.
We need fresh blood in the fields to keep things going, right? And so we need these kids that are, 11, 12 years old, 10 years from now, they're going to be in the field. They're going to be building the applications that we all are going to want to depend on.
In this day and age, everything's computers. We need to teach kids how to do this so that when they grow up, it'll be even more technologically advanced. It's a really nice feeling because you get to see this thing that you made or made it do. Like the cereals over there, they had to make it go around the track. It's difficult, and when you finally actually do it, you get a really good sense of pride.
It was just crazy how you just type in this thing and it works. It makes the computer do something. And so it's just really fun whenever you have this compiler that checks for errors on your code. And whenever the compiler's you have 19 errors, you're like, oh shoot, what did I do? And then you go through and you solve every one of them. It's just so cool to make your own program.
I think a lot of people just aren't sure what the process looks like and how coding affects pretty much everything we do now. and our future. When a lot of students go home and say, hey, we're coding today, I'm not even sure all of our parents understand what they're working on. Many of these students would never have that opportunity or may never seek that on their own or in their class. So I think the initiative that the district pushes out is fantastic to let every student have a chance.
What I liked about the coding week is that all the students in the building were able to be involved at different levels, applicable to their skill set. And they were constantly learning, they were constantly engaged. It starts young at sequencing, and then the older students move towards block coding, and then once they are more secure with their block coding, they do start some line coding. And there were some line coding activities as well. And we even had some unplugged activities where they were learning some binary skills.
It kind of helps people understand it on a simpler level, because coding can be very scary with all the words and different language that you don't even know, but the games make it easier.
There's no doubt that it takes a lot of time and experimentation to get comfortable and good at developing any kind of skill. The real successful people that you meet that have been doing software and have really accomplished a lot, most of them did start pretty young. So if you can start now, then when you get to be the age where it really matters, you're going to be way ahead.
I've wanted to be a software engineer, computer programmer since I was about 6 years old. And that's why I started learning when I was 6 years old.
And it really prepares me, I think, for like life, because I'm doing like a college program here. And it's really cool to, just go on the internet and go on a website and you understand how that website works.
What I do with We Love to Code is, instead of a week, I don't think that's really enough. I think that maybe every other Friday should be an opportunity where there's enough computer cards that children can do like a STEM activity or coding. Cards, books, they're expensive and they're in short supply, so please share them.
It's hard for us to even guess what the future's going to be like. So I think the ability to just do as much as we can and just to see what they might want to pursue. Not everyone's going to be working in coding or building robots, but the ability to persevere and problem solve and work in teams is really the big focus on all of this.
And it's fascinating that I could have started someone's entire career just by doing something as simple as this for 10 minutes with them.
So our robotics students are here. They're going to tell you what they did during that week.
Okay, my name is Tyler and we're from the Sega Robotics Club, and we helped out at Fairmount Elementary's Star Tech Night recently. And while we were there, we had a station with two different activities. In one, the students would learn how to program, and then they'd get to see it in action. And if it didn't work, we'd go back to the drawing board, figure something else out. And on the other station, they would get to build robots like the ones you see here and learn how the different pieces work together. So we have prepared a simple demonstration program.
Alright, so all this we have lines of codes for this, and can we have a Dr. Glenn up here? Okay. Okay, so you have all these like wheel things for steering and stuff. So what do you want to make the robot do? Go forward, turn around? Sure. Go forward, turn around. Alright. So this is a steering thing, and if you notice, it says B and C at the top, which are the ports which the steering wheels are connected to B and C. And this is the direction. If you want, I turn around.
just wanted to know if you could like put one of them in at a golf course, and when my ball gets offline, you go on there, retrieve it, and put it back in the fairway. Work on that program. That is awesome.
So this is one of the more complex robots that we had built. We actually built this one for the criminal kids at Star Trek. So this is supposed to be modeled after a dog, which is really fun. It takes, how long do you think it would take to build this one? Yeah, and
Simple programming.
yeah, simple programming to do amazing stuff.
For instance, the dog can like jump up and make kids excited or something, make it bark, make it like
There's a
turn around.
petting mechanism.
There's a petting thing on the back.
Touch
So
it,
when you
and
rub
then
its back, it senses it and then it'll respond to it.
fun.
So just a quick additional shout out to Joe Richter from our communications department. He's the one that got out to the sites and put together all the footage and did a really great job with the video. So we're excited to share that video with our community. We wanted to keep it a surprise until tonight, the premiere. But look for that on the district's website and other places in the district. And again, thanks to April and to our students from Sager for being here tonight to talk about We Love to Code.
And as Joel said, it was truly magical. I had an opportunity to visit some schools during that week, and this was a neat opportunity that to have coding that really engaged kindergartners all the way through 12th grade. And the dad that was the software architect, Peter, that was speaking, I happened to be in his session, and he showed the kids, he's a Bryan Middle School parent, he showed the kids how to really simply do a program to the Amazon Echo, like the Alexa. It read the Bryan Middle School announcements, and the kids were really impressed with that it was really simple coding that you can do web-based on Amazon. So again, a really neat week and great learning opportunities for our students. And we were at a site visit, or we were visiting some classrooms where the kid was talking about how he was doing fits blocks. This is weeks after coding, so to hear that those activities have transferred over beyond that week is also just really neat learning for our kids. So thank you to April and all of the other folks that supported the event for that week.
Thank you. That must be sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's board report for the month of March. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the impact of tax abatement programs on local school districts in Missouri. A new report commissioned by the Kauffman Foundation finds Missouri school districts are losing about $3.5 billion in assessed valuation due to the use of tax increment financing and other tax abatement programs designed to encourage economic development. That reduction in assessed valuation of property means school districts statewide are losing at least $171 million in local revenue each year. The report was compiled by Park University professor and North Kansas City School Board member Dr. Terry Ward, who presented the findings at the recent MSBA Legislative Forum in Jefferson City. Ward says tax abatement laws need to be changed to allow school districts to have a greater say in granting such abatements, and to prevent local property taxes designed to fund schools from being diverted to other purposes.
Why is it legal for the city council to unilaterally decide that the voters' wishes, when they approve taxes for schools or senior citizens or libraries, are irrelevant? That they need to capture that money and use it to subsidize development rather than honoring the wishes of the voters who said, I'm willing to have my taxes increased to pay for schools or to pay for a sheltered workshop.
Ward says since school districts are largely dependent on property taxes for local funding, they stand to lose the most
when tax abatements are granted in a community. During her remarks at the Legislative Forum, MSBA Executive Director Melissa Randall discussed the challenge of advocating for public education in a polarized political environment. She also emphasized the importance of rising above partisan politics when advocating for children.
We are not here to advance a particular party's agenda. We are simply here to advocate for children. And I think that is such a powerful message to share. There are things we agree with in both parties' platforms, and there's things we disagree with in both parties' platforms. But that's not our issue. Our issue is simply to advance what's best for children. And in our efforts to advocate for children, I want to be very clear with this. MSBA will vigorously oppose any efforts to undermine public education at the state and federal level.
More than 300 school board members and administrators attended the 2017 Legislative Forum in Jefferson City. Participants heard updates on pending legislation that could have an impact on local school districts, and then had the opportunity to meet with their local legislators at the Capitol. A new feature of the Legislative Forum this year was the Student Showcase. Student groups from 16 school districts set up tables outside the House and Senate chambers in the Capitol and had the opportunity to share innovative programs in their districts with legislators and others. While there are numerous education issues being considered at the state level, there have also been some significant developments on the federal level, including the confirmation of school choice and voucher supporter Betsy DeVos as the new Secretary of Education. Two representatives of the National School Boards Association joined the MSBA Legislative Forum by video link to discuss federal issues. Kim Ritchie is the Managing Director of Federal Advocacy, and Deborah Rigsby is the Director of Federal Legislation for NSBA. Ritchie says NSBA is emphasizing there is already a great deal of choice for students within the public school system.
What we've realized is that members of Congress really don't have a clear concept of the existing choice options that are currently offered within public school districts and governed by public boards of education. Of course, we're talking about charter schools that are operated by school boards. We're talking about magnet programs, school programs that offer a focused curricula. So if you have a school site within your district that focuses on STEM education or focuses on the arts, we do believe that there is a misconception that there are not sufficient choice options for America's public school students. And so our first matter of advocacy really is to focus on the existing choice options that are currently offered by public school.
NSBA Center for Public Education has issued an updated report on school voucher and choice programs. That report concludes such programs are not an effective way to improve public education. MSBA spring regional meetings are coming up in April and May. A meeting is held in each of MSBA's 17 regions in the state. It's a great opportunity to network with your colleagues from your area of the state and to share ideas. Topics for this year's spring regional meetings will vary by region. You can find out more about your regional meeting and register for the meeting by visiting the MSBA website. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.
Next item on the agenda is purchases over $7,500. Board will entertain a motion to approve purchases over $7,500 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Haynes, second by Mr. Summer. Is there any discussion or questions?
And I apologize, Kevin, for not giving you some heads up on this. I just realized this, but we have one item on there, just very briefly, that is a significantly larger amount than we typically approve. I think everyone knows we had a massive hailstorm for last year, and we sustained damage to a large number of buildings. So one of the items on there is a roofing contract that we're getting a large portion of our roofings replaced. And this is the insurance claim amount was over $7 million, correct?
That is correct.
And I just wanted to make sure that, that we
different events such as Missouri DECA, or there's another one for the conference in Seattle. So my question is, we had in January a situation where we collected money from students that were attending a conference, that because of the weather, we had the students come home. But the conference wasn't canceled, so did we refund that money to the students? Because the conference wasn't canceled, but we had them come home, so.
I don't remember the details of how all that played out. I know that there were some hotel bills in question that we did end up reimbursing some parents for, because we did feel like it was unsafe to transport kids as the conference continued, and we wanted to get them home safely. And parents had paid for some of the hotels and some parents to reimburse. I'm not sure if we reimbursed the amount of the conference itself.
Okay, so we don't have a specific policy in place if the district cancels a conference that's continuing on for whatever reason.
Well, in the field trip meetings that we're having with parents, we are letting them know that that is a chance that they are taking, that if inclement weather were to occur, and we feel it's no longer safe, the district is not liable for those funds. That's a conversation that should be happening at field trip and
Okay. So do the families have an opportunity to register directly with themselves for the conference and the hotels, whatever other expenses there might be?
in that particular instance.
And I'm just, this is just in general.
It would depend on the conference and the event.
Okay. But we don't have a specific policy at this point, at least, to cover that. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? By roll call?
Mr. Summer?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Board will entertain a motion to approve the monthly financial report for February. As presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Summer, second by Mr. Haynes. Any discussion? By roll call?
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. We're going to entertain a motion to approve, accept the proposal submitted from Kerber, Eck, and Breckel to provide annual audit services to Francis School District for the 2016-17 school year, with the options to renew for 2017-18 and 2018-19 fiscal years.
So moved.
Second.
Kevin?
We have been very pleased with KEB, and as indicated in the memo, we are working with them on a project, and it seems to continue that relationship as we finalize our individual preparation of financial statements.
Any questions, board? Done a fine job for us over the years. By roll call?
Ms. Ferguson?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Item number 10D, staffing changes 2017. Board will entertain a motion to approve the 2017-18 staffing changes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Walker, second by Mr. Haynes. Ms. Simpkins?
Thank you, Mr. Lafata. Our request tonight is just to ask that 2 of the positions that were approved in our staffing plan as certified positions would be reallocated to the non-certified staffing plan to allow us to fill those positions in a different manner. As we have worked to define a program that would better meet the social and emotional needs of our students, we feel that filling those positions with educational support counselors is a way to better meet those needs. And so this would not change our FTEs or any salary costs, but just allow us to fill those positions in a non-certified staffing manner instead of certified.
Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, by roll call?
Mr. Lang?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item number 6E. entertain a motion to approve the extra duty staffing and salary recommendation for the 2017-2018 school year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Walker, second by Mr. Summer. Ms. Higgins.
Thanks, Mr. LaPlata. So our extra duty committee met electronically again this year to review the offerings and salary schedule. And our recommendation to the board, is a status quo offering for our elementary, middle, and high school students in regards to extra duty, as well as a status quo staffing salary schedule.
Ms. Walker?
This is just kind of a general question. Do all of our staff that receive extra duty, are they all full-time or at least part-time employees of the district? Or do we have some staff that that's all they do is extra duty?
Correct. So we first try to fill those positions with district employees, certified employees. Our support staff employees are not eligible to fill the extra duty positions because they are paid with stipends. And because of Fair Labor Standard laws, we can't pay an hourly person with a stipend. So those positions are first offered to our certified employees. And then if those positions go unfilled, then we'll open those to those folks that may not be employed in the district.
Any other questions, board? Hearing none by roll call.
Mr. Hain?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. 10F, we table to, or move to the work session. Next item is MSBA Board Director nomination. And I'm going to entertain a motion to nominate blank to the MSBA Region 7 Board of Directors. I will tell you, you can't nominate me because I won't be here. But any of the 5 remaining people here, except, well, 6 total, because you got Renee also, can be nominated. But I would probably recommend nominating somebody that, you know, for sure is going to be here, since we do have an election. So are there nominations?
Yeah, I would nominate Mr. Mike Summer. He's fulfilled his duty for us in the past, and I know it requires some time away from in Columbia and different things like that, and I've been able to do that for us.
Any other nominations? Well, we take nominations and then we vote, just as we do. Then I'll close nominations. No more nominations? Okay, I guess you're ready by acclamation.
I do just have a question.
Oh, but then we have votes.
Should we have a backup just in case? I mean, there's an election next month.
Well, there is an alternate
curious.
usually, isn't there?
Do we have an alternate?
This is completely, just to help clarify, this is for Region 7, which is St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jefferson County, and St. Charles County. There's 4 school districts, and there's probably 25% of the public school kids in the state of Missouri in this region. So, although we're only one of 17 regions, we're a very large region, and if by chance the individual that is selected to run is not reelected, then it'd be open to all school districts, the 40 school districts. So we could nominate somebody else at that point, absolutely.
It has to be submitted by the 31st.
Yes, anybody that's interested has to submit by March 31st. And there's other qualifications like the 2-year time limit that's involved.
Is there a second, Mr. Summers' nomination?
Second.
Mr. Hawkins? Any discussion? By roll call.
Ms. Ferguson?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Item 11B is policy reading, first review, first reading. We got one more policy reading. We met a week ago. Discussed policies. This will be on your, this will be us to the technology work session. And Garrett will be down here, correct?
That'd be great.
Okay. And then we'll talk about the charter schools as well. But, Justin, you're welcome to stick around. This is riveting, I know. Love having you here today. You've got a great family that all goes up here. I saw it. It's a loving family, and we appreciate you guys being here tonight. And good luck to you in the future. We look forward to seeing you at graduation in 4 years, right? Yep. Okay, because you're in 8th grade, right? So you'll be teaching our freshmen next year, right? Okay. All right. Thank you again for being here tonight. legislation just hit the House floor. There's a different version of the Senate, so it's kind of a moving target right now. So the resolution, that even the one that was proposed by Parkway and some of the other school districts, that may at some point need to be amended. So I'm not really sure what direction we want to go. This Chad brought this as a concern or question, and I was trying to read.
Yeah, after seeing MSBA, speak out against it, I did a little research on the situation, and as they were meeting today, in fact, so things have changed, and that's why I was okay with pushing it back, because we don't even know what we would technically be voting on because of all the changes, or if anything's even changed today since we've been here. So I have no problem with it, and it was a not really last minute deal, but I reached out to MSBA to get their resolution, and they say the website was hacked and they're trying to rebuild it. So it took a while to get back, and threw this on Mary and to throw together a resolution based off bits and pieces from other places. But I figured it was something important because it ultimately could affect our school district, and I'd like to take a stance against it in its current form as it was when I brought it forward. Now, the changes that happened today could be a little bit different, and just that's what my thought process was behind this.
And I think that's a wrangling bill on Jeff City that's being talked about quite a bit. So for us to have any kind of stance right now would be futile right now, because it is changing. So with the wind, so I don't really have an opinion on it from a school district standpoint at this point. I don't know if the board does, but I don't know how much impact we're going to have passing a resolution when it's changing dramatically now in just City daily.
So, and I can tell you the input I've had, with charter school, really MSBA has two concerns, and one is school accountability that charter schools currently don't have that we are required as a public school district. But the other one is accreditation and local governance. So that was the two concerns that MSBA have, and I know yesterday on the House floor there were dozens of amendments. It seemed like constantly added to the bill. It did get perfected today on the House floor, and I did send to Dr. Hendricks Harris right after we got done with closed session. And the bill is 26 pages long if you want to read the House version, but it's now headed to the Senate, and word on the street is the Senate may not even consider it this year. So if we want to continue to talk about that, I think it'd be better for us to maybe do it after all of us have had a chance to read the 26-page bill, and then either have it as a work session again on April the 6th, or April 20th, yeah. But you're right, I agree with you that opposing it or agreeing with it at this point is hard to do, very difficult to do, yes.
And just so people know, it is House Bill 634, if people want to look it up and check into it a little bit.
Want to send it to us, Mary? Not tonight, but sometime.
Sure, I'll be happy to send it to you. I think the resolutions in general that are being passed by other school boards are in regards to just stating that you are not for expansion of charter schools, not necessarily for or against a specific bill. So we certainly can educate ourselves so that board members know what can be coming down the pike and what they individually might want to advocate or not advocate for. But the resolutions as they're written are not specific to a specific bill. So again, however the board wants to handle it is fine. Just wanted to provide that clarity. So we could do an update in the next work session about where things are, and then we all can make a decision from there. But again, it's not about one. Generally speaking, it's not about one specific bill or rendition of the bill.
To my knowledge, we don't have additional revenues down in Jeff City to fund charter schools. So therefore, it will come out of K through 12 education, which will hurt public schools even more. And I just don't think it's well thought out at this point. And it's in my opinion, it's going to give. This will lead to vouchers. basically give private schools a license to steal, because that's what will happen. Trust me. They'll raise their rates at private schools, and there won't be the funding available to fund K through 12 education as we see it today. And that robs from most kids, but not all.
And really, this bill doesn't have to do with vouchers.
I understand that,
Has
Mr.
to do,
Summer.
has to do with charters, but,
That's what it's gonna lead to.
right. But some of the amendments that got thrown on there just last night is that this bill would not take effect until the formula is fully funded. Then you might have heard last night that the budget being proposed is gonna fully fund the formula. There's other amendments that got tacked on yesterday that only 90% of the funds would go to the charter school, the other 10% would stay with the home district. So there's all kinds of things where they were throwing spaghetti against the wall just to see what would stick. So,
The accountability changed overnight as well, so.
yes, you're absolutely right, yeah. So there's a lot in here that we need to look at.
No, I don't think I really need a microphone. Okay. I don't really have any issue at all making a general statement. We are a public education school board. That's our job, to support public education and make sure that every child has an equal access. And so as I'm looking at this resolution, this isn't for any specific bill or amendments or any of that. It is just a general statement from us as a board representing the district saying, hey, we reject the thought and the legislation of charter school expansion, because just like you're saying, it's just one step. So we get charter schools, the next thing you know, we get vouchers. The next thing we know, you can live here and go to school there. So I would not be opposed to passing a resolution this evening to reject charter schools.
Expansion.
Yes.
So let me give you a quick hypothetical. What if the Francis Howell School District wants to establish its own charter school with a sponsor for a STEM, for the gifted kids, and make it available to countywide students? Your resolution opposing the expansion of charters would prohibit us from doing that.
And so,
Just an example.
sure.
The resolution is not policy, Mr. Summer.
Well, you're absolutely correct. Let me rephrase that. Your objection to charter schools would tell the House and the Senate that we're not interested in charter schools under any circumstances for expansion.
And I would say at this time, I would support that decision. If we want to have a specific building where we want to focus on something for our students, then we can make that choice and do that. But taking revenue out of the public education system and investing it in charter schools, we wouldn't have to call it a charter school. We're already a public school district. We want to have a special school, we open a special school if we have the funds to do it. So, I know it's a political hot potato, but it's not. I've not heard one source, including MSBA, say that they support public education and charter school expansion. I will be quiet, sorry about that. I know that's my hint, right?
No. Actually, push me away from it.
Well, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on whether or not we vote on this resolution tonight or not, so Chad, do you want to vote on this tonight?
I'm fine with voting on it.
Okay.
I need to take more time to
Okay.
read it. I haven't read all of it.
This procedurally, because it got moved to work session, you actually can't
Can't vote on it.
True. Right.
What we discussed, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Maybe your decision.
And we'll have an idea of what is
An idea what's in the bill?
So just so administration has clear direction regarding next steps, you would like for us to bring this back as an agenda item or a work session item, and at the April 14th or the April 20th meeting? 6th, I'm sorry,
6.
wrong date in my head. 6th or 20th.
We're going to add it as an agenda item, and we can always.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you put on the 20th agenda item to give the new board an opportunity to review it, because you got two or three new members potentially going to be there. So
session on the 6th to help educate the new board members and vote on the 20th.
Is that the desire of the board?
We'll decide that when we get to the upcoming meetings.
Okay.
We'll move into technology work session.
Mr. LaFont and board, I'd like to formally introduce you to Rich Wilson. He's our Director of Technology. You know, Rich joined us in July of this year, and he's just been a tremendous asset to us, bringing not only a wealth of knowledge, but just a great team-building spirit to the district. And I have a chance to meet with Rich on a weekly basis, and we talk about the work that's going on. And I can tell from those conversations how much things have improved in terms of structure and just the attitudes of people. We've recently done a climate survey, which is something that we do on a regular basis, and we got some very positive feedback about Rich and his team for the great work that they're doing. So as a lead-in, just thank you and a welcome again to Rich for all that he's done. And you'll see as we go through the presentation tonight, some of the exciting things that are taking place in Francis Howell, even as we're operating on pretty much of a shoestring budget. So Rich, I'd like to invite you to start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Board of Education. How's everybody doing? So this evening, like Mr. Salt said, just take a few minutes to kind of share with you what's going on in the district technology and where we're at, and kind of what's we've been working on with major projects and projects that we have upcoming for next school year. So the mission of the district technology is to provide a 21st century learning administrative environment for our students, faculty, and staff. So on this slide is a network topology of our wide area network. As you can see, it's very busy. It's representing all the 27 buildings in the district that actually make up our very large and enterprise level network that is all connected through mostly fiber connections. 14 of the 27 buildings are actually connected with fiber that is leased primarily 12 sites from AT&T and 2 sites from CenturyLink. With the connections currently that we have, our elementary buildings have 250 megabits connection speeds, and then our secondary buildings have 500 meg connection speeds. You can see that there's a few buildings that actually kind of piggyback off each other. So some of our campuses actually share some of that bandwidth with their fiber leases, such as the Cotterville campus, the Howell North campus, Barnwell Becky David, Bryan Middle School, and Independence. So kind of give you a big picture overview, first of all, of the grandiose large scale of our district network. And then, of course, we have the technology department, and very quickly the main responsibilities is overseeing, maintaining, supporting the district network, the wide area network, and of course also the internal connections, the district phone systems, software and database systems, device and multimedia systems, and IT, data governance, and security of the network devices and for our software and database systems. So on the next few slides, we're actually kind of drilling down a little bit more into details into some of these main responsibility areas. The first one, take a look at the network and communication systems for our network security, safeguarding our network and devices and our data. Within our network from the rest of the world, so to speak, we have 2 firewall systems that we have. Our internal network system comprises of about 420 network switches and routers. And then we do have a district wireless system with about a little over 1,300 wireless access point systems that are controlled by 2 wireless access point controllers. We have access points in all of our classrooms throughout the district, and we have 99% coverage with our district wireless network throughout the district. We do have 10 district servers in a large district, a large organization. It may not seem like a big number, but many of our servers are actually virtualized where they're sharing resources. So we have multiple servers on one server or one system. And then a lot of our systems are actually out on cloud and secure services that we have with third-party vendors. And then you can see we have a little over 2,000 telephone handsets in the district. Next, kind of take a look, systems. Our core systems include our student database system of Infinite Campus, our HR and finance system Business Plus or B Plus, our network operating system that controls our network and security within our network is Microsoft Active Directory or AD, and then our two major collaboration and productivity suites or Google Education Suite, and then also Microsoft Office 365. And as was submitted to the board in January, I believe, the district technology department, we launched a software utilization study of the district level software database and system to make sure that we were utilizing them appropriately at appropriate levels, and that we were using them as intended. Next, kind of drilling down in district devices and systems. In user devices, a lot of times when you think of technology, you think of desktops, laptops, and tablets. We have a little over 13,000 of those in the district. Roughly about 11,000 of those are dedicated as student devices. So we currently have a device-to-student ratio of 1 student dedicated device for every 1.6 students. So our device-to-student ratio 1 to 1.6 students. And then multimedia systems, you can see we have a little over 1,000 projectors and smart boards in the district. We have pretty much 100% all of our K-12 classrooms with smart boards and projectors in our classrooms. Maintaining all of the network resources, software databases, and end-user devices is the technology department. So a quick rundown, as you can see, there's myself as the director of 0.5 FTE administrative assistant. We do have a systems administrator. We have 2 networking folks. In the data processing area, we have an IS manager, 2 data specialists, a programmer, and a help desk technician. And then for technical support, we do have a technology services manager and 12 building technicians. So we have, on average, 1 building technician for every 2.25 buildings to support the 27 buildings in the district. The next couple slides actually kind of take a look at the breakdown or information about the technology budget. These 2 slides actually are the operating budget, so they do not include salaries and benefits of the district technology staff. So the current fiscal year, the operating budget of the technology department is just a little over $2.7 million. You can see the breakdown of those, of the technology budget. 43% are contract renewals, software, renewals, maintenance, 42% leases, with computers and other end-user devices, tablets, laptops. We do a purchase lease program with our end-user devices. And then for network communications with phone services, cell phone services, PRI, trunk lines, and our fiber leases is about 10% of the budget, and then 5% are general supplies. The next slide takes a look at a 5-year trend of the operating technology budget going back to fiscal year 13. And you can see in fiscal years 13, 14, and 15, there was a steady increase in the technology budget. As the school district and student learning and technology integration in our district started to grow, the technology department was expanding. You can see that last school year, fiscal year 16, there was a dramatic decrease with a lot of the cuts that you're familiar with, affected a lot of different areas, if not just about every area in the district, including the technology budget. And then you can see from last year to this year, there's a slight increase of the technology budget. But the last 2 years, as you can see from the chart, we're still below the technology budget levels from 3 or 4 years ago. To help us with getting input, guidance, and vision on the direction of the district technology, and how it's utilized for administrative and student learning, we do have a district strategic technology committee made up of stakeholders. We have faculty, staff members, teachers, support staff members, member of the technology department, board member representation, and parents as well, of course. We have been meeting monthly throughout the school year, and this year our primary focus has been to develop a new 3-year technology plan. So our overarching goal this year was by the the end of June to actually have those discussions, establish new goals, new priorities to finalize that plan this June. So here are the overall mission of district technology that has been the ongoing mission for a few years now. 21st century learning, deliver PD for technology, make sure that all our students have access to technology, make sure that technology is used appropriately, and that we infuse our curriculum in classrooms and schools with technology, and to enhance online learning opportunities for not only our students, but also for our faculty and staff. A few of the SMART goals that the Technology Committee have worked on and finalized, and we're still working on a few. As of this Tuesday, we had a meeting. The first one deals directly with network infrastructure. In a lot of ways, so much rests and relies on the stability and the bandwidth of our network and of our internet infrastructure. So the first goal really talks about our internal network infrastructure, our WAN connections with our fiber. We want to ensure that on normal district operating days, you're always going to have some peaks and valleys, that it does not exceed 75%. We want to look at improving our device ratio from one device for every 1.6 students to one device for every 1.3 students. And we want to look at decreasing our average device age from 5.5 years to 5 years. And then also we want to apply the next few years, if not next year, apply for the Consortium School Networking. They have a new district certification. It's called the Trusted Learning Environment. It's a very rigorous, just came out last year. It's basically a stamp of approval by COSTA is the Educational Technology Leaders National Organization, and this is a stamp of approval that thus far only 28 districts in the country have earned, and it's basically evidence that a district has in place not only equipment, assurances, firewalls, network security, but also has proper IT controls and processes and procedures in place. So on this slide, it shows a graph comparing districts, device to student comparisons. This is a chart from a survey that was recently done. The data was collected in January of this year. It's 53 districts in the state of Missouri that actually submitted. It was self-reporting data. So at the very bottom, it's hard to see up there, but if you see on your computers, list all of the districts that submitted the information and data. On the left-hand side, on the y-axis, so to speak, is the number of students per device. So just kind of flipping that ratio, so to speak. So on the far left is Nell Holcomb School District, and you can see that their bar is the highest, so they're right about 4.6. So what that represents is they have one device for every 4.6 students. So you have to think of it just the opposite. So if you start to the left and you move to the right, the further right you go, all the way to the far end of the right is Columbia Public School District, and they actually have the most devices per student. So the further you go from left to right, the more student devices you have in your school district. In the middle, shaded in black, is Schuler School District, and that is the median, so the middle of the districts from this sample. And then you can see about a quarter of the way to the left in red is Francis Howell School District with our 1.6 ratio. So you can see from this sampling, which is about 11-12% of the districts in the state, that we are a little bit behind the middle with our student device ratio. In this sampling, you can see at the bottom, wide variety of sizes of districts. There's some districts with a few hundred all the way to 20,000 plus with Columbia School District.
Rich, if
yes.
we could just go back to that previous slide. I do think the other thing that's interesting for the board to note is that as you take a look at the median, and remember what that's saying is that there are as many districts on this side as on that side, but there's a much greater amount of variability in the ratios as you look at the bad side of that equation, if you will, than on the good side. So once you're on the other side, on the right side of the median, very little variability among those school districts. And on the left side of the median, there's a much greater amount of variability. So I think that we not only have a desire to move towards the median, but to understand that we need to bring ourselves closer to what seems to be becoming a standard.
Does the bandwidth prohibit you to grow more device-wise?
With our current bandwidth, no.
So we're okay there, we're not gonna
Yes.
hit the
Yeah.
wall?
And actually, we just signed, in the board, you all approved in January a new fiber lease agreement, because our 10-year agreement was up this summer. So we entered into a new 5-year agreement that would actually double our current speeds at our secondary buildings and then quadruple at our elementary buildings. So all of our fiber lease connections will be at a gig speed. So that actually will improve next year as well.
What's the definition of a device? For example, is the superintendent's cell phone, is that a device that you count?
No. Good question. So when we talk about devices, we're talking about desktops, laptops, and tablets. There are currently 39 districts provided cell phones to appropriate personnel, so we're going 39. So like personal devices, we have our BYOT program, so none of those devices are in that count. Just kind of point of clarification.
So that includes Chromebooks too?
Yes, yeah, thank you, Chromebooks, yeah. And the next couple slides really kind of touch on a few of the major technology projects that we worked on this year and what we're forecasting for next year. As you can imagine, there's a whole other range of projects that we're constantly working on. As I mentioned, working on the goals and the vision and the action steps for the technology plan for the next 3 years. Well, yes, we have been working on implementing boardroom audio improvements for this year. And then we did do...
That's number one, right?
Yes. We did undertake, as I mentioned, the software utilization study. We have been increasing the cybersecurity measures. We've been looking at the state auditor as they audited this past year, other school districts, to make sure we're in line with the audit findings, making sure that we keep up to date our IT data governance plan and procedures, implementing new security measures, like for the very first time, March 1st, we implemented where faculty and staff have to reset their passwords every 182 days, 183 days, basically twice a year. So different measures, we're increasing that for our devices, for our network. I just mentioned, the network upgrades that we're having. Well, actually, this year, we actually implemented some network upgrades at the beginning of the year. This time last year, the end of last school year, all of our buildings, and for 10 years, were 100 megs. And last year, not the last couple years, there was a lot of bottlenecks, basically. Definitely last year and the second semester of last year. So right before school started, August of this year, we worked with our fiber lease vendors, and we're able to increase our speeds from 100 to 250 to 500, where we're at currently. Internet upgrades, so at the beginning of the school year, we were at 1 gig for our internet pipe, and then we actually have 2 separate 1 gig internet pipes, so in January, actually double our internet speeds as well. And then next month is standardized testing season with math and UOC testing, actually in April and May, but starting next month, so a lot of preparation going into getting ready for the testing cycle. And then looking forward to 17-18, a few major projects. Mentioned about the new 5-year agreement with AT&T. Besides increasing those speeds, I mentioned that we have 4 campuses that are sharing fiber connections. We're actually will have Independence and Bryan Middle School, Sager and Francis House Central, Beckenham and Barnwell that are sharing fiber speed connections, or they will actually have their own dedicated connections next year. So not only we're increasing speeds, but we're also splitting off the buildings that are sharing connections currently. Next year, we're looking at rebooting the technology refresh program for our district devices. On that graph where it had the 5-year trend and the district technology budget, along with cuts over the past 2 years, the area that was cut out was the district refresh cycle. So all of our devices refresh were basically put on hold, except for a few devices this fall that were in desperate need of being updated, about 150 computers, which, you know, with 13,000 plus devices, it's just a drop in the bucket. So we're looking at rebooting that. That's one of the reasons why our device average is up so high at 5.5 years. So that would help bring down our average device age. We're looking at establishing different types of metrics with key performance indicators for our district technology, such as our device ratio, our average ages of device, our bandwidth, you know, our expenditures for technology per student. So we're looking at establishing those metrics, and from that, we want to develop a public dashboard so that we can show comparisons with those different metric areas, how we measure up with different districts in the state, but also across the country. And then kind of an ongoing project, you know, preparing for next school year standardized testing window. So that is a quick rundown of the state of technology here in the district.
Well, thank you. So the, go ahead.
So I just have a couple questions. You indicated that we're pretty much covered wireless 99% of the district.
Yes.
Where are we lacking?
Well, the reason I hesitate to say 100% because it seems like, you know, even though you have an access point in every classroom, in every library, you know, there could be just one little corner in one room somewhere. So that's why I kind of hesitate to say 100%.
And I have heard, and I'm sure this is a very low priority, is the activities field outdoor. There's not wireless connectivity there all the
Yeah,
time.
so when I said, yeah, with our buildings, I wasn't really, so that's actually a project.
Building versus campus.
Yes,
There we go.
yes, yeah, definitely a distinction. But actually, we did outfit one of our press boxes with a wireless access point. I believe it was Howell North, as kind of an experiment with a wireless bridge that goes out to the press box for coverage. So we've been working with facilities because there's different, you know, facilities needs and help that we need and assistance from them. We're looking at moving forward for the other the other 2 high schools.
Who's got that now?
I believe it's Howell North. I could be wrong. Sorry.
That surprises me. Usually it's Howell.
You also mentioned, we'll keep moving on.
It's one of the high schools.
Okay.
You also mentioned your student ratios, you
Yes.
plan to go from 1.6 down to 1.3. So how many additional devices do they have?
It's roughly about 2,000 more devices. So over the next 3 years, it would be right about 650, kind of a net growth in terms of student devices. Over the next 3 years, it gives about the 2,000 added devices to get from 1.6 to 1.3.
And based upon funding and staff, is that feasible?
Yeah, actually have developed that I can't share kind of a forecast with some increased funding back into the technology budget for starting next year, and kind of looking at reallocating some funds as well. It's roughly, I did the calculations.
And I think that one thing that will be helping us is that because of the changing nature of technology, as we built up to 1.6, a lot of those were computers or laptops. Now they're going to be Chromebooks, which are much more accessible. So getting 650 additional Chromebooks is very different than buying 650 additional iMacs or MacBooks or something like that. You know, there's a big difference in price between those two. So as we have transitioned to Chromebooks, we think we have an opportunity to increase the number of devices that are available within a reduced budget parameter.
What's the cost of Chromebooks today, approximately?
They're right at, depending on the quantities that are purchased at the time, about $240 each. So when you look at like like Mr. Sutton said, like a laptop or a desktop, it's 2.5 times that amount. As we're moving more towards, as we're moving more towards Google Apps for Education, or the Google Education Suite, a lot of our teachers and students are really gravitating more towards, and not just our district, districts across the country. Educational technology magazines are now saying, or they have been saying for about a year, that the student device that is purchased the most now by school districts are Chromebooks. It's not just a price point, just the speed and ease of use. Even tonight, I was talking with somebody from one of our middle schools, and one of the things, as you have like a laptop card, or a cart of laptops, just the login speed it takes, where like a Chromebook, you can start it up, log in 12 seconds, as opposed to 5-10 minutes on a Windows machine. So just little differences like that, make a big difference in the world of education.
Where are we in the lifespan of those Chromebooks?
With the current models, and there's some new models, but districts and from personal professional experience, about 4 years.
And I do think
4 or 5 years.
That raises a good point, just that the board is able to hear as we're talking about this today. One of the advantages of Chromebooks is that they are less expensive, and so it becomes easier to provide a larger number of devices for our students. But unlike some other devices, they really do reach somewhat of a hard end of life. And so we need to be aware of that as we get some older devices. It won't be as easy to maintain end-of-life devices for Chromebooks as it might be to just keep a whatever model this is, an HP laptop. There may be 3 or 4 generations beyond this, but this is going to continue to work. And Chromebooks kind of reach a hard stop. So we'll have to be very sensitive about that going forward. We know that we don't have our head in the sand about that. We know as we're expanding the number of devices that it has an impact. But we're able to greatly increase the reach, and you heard Mr. Wilson talk about the usability of the Chromebooks and how that's improved. It's really a better tool for our students to be using. So we know there are some downsides, but it really is a better tool for our kids.
Technology is a racket, you can't keep up with it.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Every 5 years, you gotta turn the soil. Thank you very much, Rich. Board, do you have any other questions?
I do have a question. So back in the legalization report that we got in January,
Yes.
we didn't really have a whole lot of discussion, but is there any talk of reducing the number of programs that we have? Because there's so many of them, and some of them, we see how many people log in, but we don't know if they logged in once, set up their account, or if they're using this on a daily basis, or if they've ever logged in again.
We now have a process set up so that we're paying closer attention to utilization. And if you can remember back on the budget slide, there's a large chunk of the budget that is allocated each year to the maintenance of those programs. So we're spending a lot of money on that, and we're aware of that. So we want there to be a great deal of functionality. But we feel confident that the utilization report gives us a fair indication that those are being regularly used. These are not indications of, I logged in once and set up my account and I've never gone back. And we get that anecdotal data from talking with the end users, the teachers who have those programs operating, and some of the other individuals. So we are keeping a very close eye, trying to make sure that we're getting use out of the programs. And we have made a decision to stop one of the programs that we have. So Galileo will be back next year. It's about $70,000 for what it was intended to do, is it the best program for that purpose?
I just want to thank you too. I know I could see you squirming when Kevin was talking about how great you are, but thank you for a great work.
Now he's really squirming.
For a great work.
And just, this is recorded for your evaluations.
Oh, is it? I'm really sure it's recorded.
Good point.
All right, thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. Superintendent comments.
Just have a few, since we last met, Mr. Matt Rippey was named our Teacher of the Year, and this year for the first time we had our support staff Person of the Year, and that person was Jordan Fruit, and the prize patrol here was able to go out and recognize Ms. Fruit yesterday. Senior Jacob Littner from Friends Hall North was named the 2017 Missouri High School Journalist of the Year, and if you know Jacob, you know that we are proud to call Jacob one of Friends Hall's own. We have 3 more Francis Hall students who have earned a perfect 36 on the ACT. So that's some additional good news. Students from all 3 high schools have participated in the Gateway to Change Student Summits race last week. These summits bring students together across the region to problem solve. Our students have learned much and have represented all of us well. 14 students from Francis Howell who attend Lewis and Clark are moving on to the Skills USA state competition in categories like tech services, masonry, and collision repair. Something else you might have seen on our Twitter is MasterCard, in conjunction with United Way, has donated 3 pallets of school supplies to our district, so I want to recognize and appreciate their partnership and support. Hall of Fame nominations close on March 28th, and I would encourage everyone to recognize one of the many people in our district who go above and beyond every day. A big thank you to those in our community, alumni, parents, community members, students, staff, who participated in the community band concerts this past month at Sager and Francis Hall Middle. As we celebrate Music Appreciation Month, it was nice to see the groups come together. I particularly like seeing parents and students play instruments together. Thanks to our staff who led practices on the nights leading up to the concerts, and both of those concerts had great turnouts. And then lastly, I would like to wish all of our staff a relaxing spring break. I hope they take some time to re-energize and connect with their family and friends.
Thank you. Board of Education requests, is there any request for information or items for the next meeting? Upcoming meetings, April 6th. Let's do that one first. Anything to add or subtract from the agenda? Is that a work session?
Thought we added to the 20th.
No, because it's an action item. Work session for the newbies. And action item on the 20th.
And who'll be presenting the work session information? Superintendent.
Unless you delegate.
Got it.
I would think that would be not the superintendent's. That should be one of
Should be our
us.
MSBA representative.
That's what I would do, but I'm not gonna be here, so I don't care.
Well, I think it really should just be more the discussion.
Yeah, whatever you guys wanna do.
We'll see what information we can provide in post to support discussion on that.
Nothing on the 20th, other than Thursday,